From a tornado that claimed over 1,000 lives to one that destroyed a 400-year-old historical villa, these are the 5 tornadoes in impossible places that proved nature's destruction doesn't listen to reason.
Many people thought that tornadoes simply don't happen here in Utah.
That's what everyone used to think, until one of the most unexpected tornadoes of all time struck.
911! Stop screaming, listen to what? What's wrong? There's a tornado!
There's a reason Italy is known for its centuries-old architecture. Be it the engineering marvels, the Renaissance icons, or the neoclassicism. The reason the architecture here has stood for centuries is that the weather is supposed to be gentle, but we've learned so far that nature can be deadly when it wants to be. And that's exactly what happened on July 8th, 2015.
Dai, Dio ladro! Dai, che passiamo! Oh, Madonna!
Si sto filmando, Dio!
The sky over the Veneto region took a deadly stance, and the history books were ripped apart. A massive supercell formed near Venice, dropping a violent EF4 tornado. It tore through the towns of Dolo and Mira with wind speeds reaching 186 miles per hour. The most heartbreaking victim was the Villa Fini, a majestic 17th century mansion that had stood proudly since the year 1600. It had survived wars, empires, and revolutions, but it couldn't survive 30 seconds of this storm. The tornado completely leveled the villa, reducing a 400-year-old landmark to a pile of brick and dust. But the damage didn't stop there. The storm claimed the life of one person, injured 72 others, and caused over $100 million in damages. It was a brutal reminder that even the old world, with its stone fortresses and ancient roots, is not safe in front of nature's wrath. LA is known for its earthquakes, but as many of you might remember, something weird happened in 2023. You expect smog, sun, or maybe a Santa Ana wind advisory, but a tornado warning feels like a glitch in the simulation. You see, much like Salt Lake City, Los Angeles' geography doesn't look like a typical tornado-prone zone. The West Coast sits next to the cold Pacific Ocean, which acts like a fire extinguisher for severe weather. With its icy cold water, the Pacific Ocean creates stable air that essentially kills the instability needed for tornadoes. But on March 22, 2023, the atmosphere over the LA basin managed to shock everyone. Around 11:20 a.m., a chaotic storm cell moved over Montebello, a densely populated suburb just minutes from downtown LA. Suddenly, a funnel dropped. This was the strongest tornado to hit the Los Angeles area in 40 years. An EF1 with winds wreaking havoc with speeds over 110 miles per hour. Obviously, the chaos that went through the city was insane. The footage went instantly viral because it looked unreal. A dark debris cloud swirling past palm trees and busy California freeways. It tore through an industrial district, ripping the roofs off warehouses as if they were made of cardboard. It blew out car windows, snapped power lines, and damaged 17 structures, leaving 11 of them so badly destroyed they were red-tagged, meaning they were deemed unsafe to enter. Miraculously and thankfully, there were 0 deaths and only 1 reported injury. However, the storm caused millions in damage to local businesses, shredding heavy industrial roofing materials that were designed to withstand the sun, not twisters. When you think of Salt Lake City, you think of snow-capped mountains and skiing. Known as the Crossroads of the West, the geography here is supposed to be a natural shield. And why not? The city has the beautiful Wasatch Mountains that not only serve as amazing skiing resorts, but also disrupt the airflow needed to build storms. And don't forget that Salt Lake City is at an altitude of 4,200 feet. That was until it all changed in less than 15 minutes. On the 11th of August, a dark cloud took over the skies, and within minutes, it turned into something locals had never expected.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Forget citizens. Even weather experts were in shock because the storm didn't show up on radars until the last minute. The time was 12:30 p.m. and it had just hailed, but this was just the beginning. And then it was a violent F2 tornado packing winds, of over 115 miles per hour. What made this terrifying was the area that it destroyed. Most tornadoes wander through open fields. At least that's where we hope they stay. But this one dropped directly into the metropolitan heart of the city. It tore past the Delta Center and ripped through the outdoor retailer convention, where huge temporary tents were shredded instantly. It blew out hundreds of windows in the Wyndham Hotel and came dangerously close to the historic Temple Square. Unfortunately, this tornado also took a heavy toll. It claimed the life of Alan Crandy, 38, a supervisor setting up for the outdoor retailer convention near the Delta Center. He was killed instantly when the tornado struck the large temporary tent he was working in, causing heavy metal beams and debris to collapse on top of him. By the time it lifted near the state capitol, the damage was catastrophic. In total, over 80 people were injured, and the city was left with a repair bill of $170 million. It remains one of the few instances in history where a tornado moved directly through the high-rise district of a major U.S. city. The good old Alaska, where the landscape is so rugged you can go miles without seeing a soul. The last thing it needed was a tornado. If you look at a map of tornado risk, Alaska is usually blank. It is the final frontier, a fitting name for a land of blizzards, glaciers, and sub-zero temperatures, but not tornadoes. But on July 25th, 2005, the impossible happened on Sandpoint, a tiny island community in the Aleutian chain.
Breaking news coming out of Alaska where
Hit Alaska tonight?
Residents looked out their windows to see something that didn't belong in their vocabulary. A gray, churning funnel dropping from the sky. This wasn't a snow squall. It was a legitimate tornado. It touched down near the ungroomed tundra and jagged coastline, swirling over the volcanic landscape. Alaska is known for its lack of civilization. There are only 1.3 people per square mile, compared to over 7,000 for Los Angeles. And yet people were able to witness an event that may not happen for decades, if not centuries. That certainly makes this tornado even more special. While it was officially rated an F0, with winds estimated around 70 miles per hour, its existence terrified meteorologists more than its strength. The twister stayed on the ground for a brief period, kicking up dirt and volcanic ash before dissipating. Because it struck a remote, unpopulated stretch of the island, there were 0 deaths and $0 in structural damage. However, the psychological impact was immense. It proved that nowhere, not even the freezing, windswept islands of the Bering Sea, is truly immune to nature's wrath. Ask anyone where the deadliest tornado in history occurred, and they will guess Missouri, Oklahoma, or Kansas. But they would be terribly wrong. The deadliest wind event mankind has ever recorded didn't happen in the infamous Tornado Alley. It happened in a place most Westerners don't associate with supercells at all, Bangladesh. On April 26, 1989, the district of Maniganj was erased from the map. Yep, it was that bad. A massive wedge tornado, estimated to be 1 mile wide, touched down and carved a path of absolute annihilation through the cities of Dowlatpur and Saturia. Because the country lacked the advanced radar systems of the US, there was no warning, which made things even worse. One moment, it was a drought. The next, the sky turned black and took everything that came in its way. The destruction was so fatal that the tornado couldn't be officially rated, though wind engineers estimated had winds exceeding 260 miles per hour, equivalent to a high-end F4 or F5. It knocked down houses, stripped trees of their bark, and even lifted entire tin shanties into the stratosphere. In a matter of minutes, over 1,300 people were killed and over 12,000 were injured. To put that in perspective, that is nearly double the death toll of the worst U.S. tornado in history. It left 80,000 people homeless instantly, and fittingly became the worst tornado in the history of tornadoes. People don't realize that Bangladesh has one of the highest tornado death rates in the world. Its geography is that insane, and yet it didn't have sufficient technology to counteract this travesty in 1989. And a higher population density with subpar emergency services didn't help either. Reports suggest that Bangladesh is prone to about 6 tornadoes every year, with April being the peak. We just hope that none of them reach as crazy levels as the one in 1989. Which one of these do you think was the most unexpected tornado? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Also, what other tornadoes deserve a spot on this list? Let us know if you want to see part 2. Thanks for watching.